If you found this video, there's a good chance you're curious about earning a bit extra from home, but you're also not fully convinced. Maybe you commented first somewhere and I sent you this as the next step, or maybe YouTube has just put this in front of you because you've been looking at online income ideas, side hustles, work from home options. And either way, I want this to help you slow down and think clearly before you buy anything or join anything, or throw away your hope at something that might not fit your actual life. Because let's be honest, a lot of this online income world feels dodgy. Passive income, quit your job, make money while you sleep, just follow the secret system. And if you're a working parent with bills, kids, school, tired evenings, and not much spare headspace, it's completely reasonable to ask, is this actually real? Or would this work for someone like me? Or is this just another scam? And honestly, I think that question is sensible. Your skepticism is not the problem. Your skepticism might be the thing that protects you. But here's the problem. If everything feels like a scam, you can end up dismissing opportunities and you can end up buying the wrong thing. What you need is a filter, not hype, not motivation, a filter, a way to look at any online income idea and ask, is this practical? Is this honest? And is this actually doable for my life? And that's what this video is for. Not to convince you, but to help you decide. I'm going to walk you through 5 questions I'd ask before trusting any online income idea, course, program, or work from home opportunity. And these are not complicated. They're just the kind of questions that help you calm your mind down and think clearly. So first, we'll look at whether you can actually explain how the money is made. Because if you can't explain it in plain English, you probably shouldn't be paying for it yet. Second, we'll look at whether the thing requires you to become someone you don't want to be. Because there's a big difference between growing and pretending. Number 3, we'll look at whether it fits your actual life. Not your fantasy life where you've got 6 spare hours a day and no one needs dinner. Your actual life around work and kids and school runs and tired evenings and all the rest of it. Fourthly, we'll look at whether there's a clear first step, because I don't know where to start is one of the biggest reasons good people stay stuck. And that exact phrase came up in the research we looked at around parents considering side income options. And number 5, we'll look at what kind of support would help you stay on track. Because buying information is not the same as changing your life. And by the end of this, you'll know whether the next honest step is, no, this isn't right for me right now, or maybe I need to ask some better questions, or it could be, yes, this feels practical enough to explore properly. All 3 answers are useful, and that's the point. So before we go into it, I want to be clear about something. I'm not here as some internet guru. That's not me. I'm a husband, a father of 2, and I'm a teacher at heart. And I'm good at helping people slow down and understand what's in front of them before they build the confidence, take the next step, without making the whole thing feel bigger than it needs to be. And I care about this because I think ordinary people have far more in them than they've been led to believe. But I also think a lot of people get caught because they're making decisions from fear. Fear of being stuck, fear of wasting money, fear of looking stupid, fear of still being in the same place 6 months from now, fear of thinking, here we go again, another thing I didn't finish. And I've experienced all of those too. So this isn't about hyping you up. It's about helping you to think clearly. So the first question is very simple. Can you explain how the money is actually made? Not in fancy language, not in sales page language, just normal language. Something like, I learn a skill and get paid to offer that skill. I promote something useful and earn commissions if someone buys. I create content that leads people to a service, or it might be I sell a digital product. I help solve a specific problem and get paid for that. That's clear, that's simple. So can you see how the money moves? But if you're looking at something and all you're hearing is AI-powered income machine, done for you system, passive income on autopilot, then I'd pause. Not because it's automatically bad, but because if you don't understand it, you're not ready to buy it. That's one of the simplest rules I'd give anyone. If you can't explain it to your partner, your mate, or your mum in 1 or 2 sentences, you probably need more clarity before you put money into it. And I know that sounds basic, but basic is usually the stage that people skip. They get excited by the promise and never slow down enough to ask, hang on, what actually happens here? So the first check is, can I explain how the money is made in plain English? If the answer is no, your next step is not buying. Your next step is asking better questions. And that alone could save you a lot of money, time, and stress. This, in fact, is the first section in the Believable first step checklist, by the way. It literally asks you to write down the idea in one sentence. Because if you can't write it simply, you probably don't understand it clearly then. If you came here from commenting first, you should have already received that checklist. If you found this on YouTube, you can comment first or use the link below to get it. But stay with me, because the next question is the one most people feel but don't always say out loud. And the second question is this: would I have to become someone I don't respect to do this? And this is where a lot of normal people get stuck with online income. It's not always the idea of earning online that puts them off. It's who they think they'll have to become. They picture themselves posting cringy videos, pretending life is perfect, using fake urgency, calling themselves an expert when they don't feel like one, selling people a dream they don't believe in. And if that's what you think you have to do, of course, you don't want to start. I wouldn't either. So ask yourself, can I do this honestly? Can I do this without pretending? Can I learn it while still being myself? Can I be useful without being fake? Because there is a difference between growing and pretending. Growth might feel uncomfortable, and actually it will. You might need to learn some new skills. You might need to be more visible. You might need to get over the fear of what people think. But that's different from putting on a costume. If the whole thing only works when you become loud, pushy, fake, or guru-ish, then maybe it's not the right path. Unless you want to become someone like that, of course. Or maybe it's being taught in a way that doesn't fit with you. And that matters. Because the goal is not to create a second income and lose yourself in the process. The goal is to build something that still feels honest. And for me, that's a non-negotiable. So the third question is one I think most online content completely ignores. Can this fit around your actual life? Not the version of your life where everything is calm, the house is quiet, you've got endless energy and no one needs you. I mean your real life, your job, your kids, the school run, the nursery run, dinner, laundry, the tired evenings. The fact that by the time the kids are in bed, sometimes you're not actually full of entrepreneurial fire, you're just exhausted. So if something says you only need 2 hours a day, that might sound small to the person selling it, but for a working parent, 2 hours a day can be massive. And that might be the only bit of breathing room you have. So ask, how much time does this really need? Could I start with doing less, maybe 3 to 5 hours a week? Could I protect one little block of time? Would this take a ton of time away from my children? Would this make life clearer or more chaotic? The phrase, matters without a ton of time away from children is crucial, because that's how parents actually think about this stuff. It's not just, can I make money? It's, can I make money without missing even more of my own life? And if the plan only works when you ignore your family, burn yourself out, and become absent, I'd question whether that's really freedom. It might just be another grind wearing nicer clothes. A believable first step should be small enough to fit into your real life. Not forever, but to start. Because if the first step doesn't fit, you won't take it. And if you take it, you probably won't keep it. The fourth question is this: what is the first thing I would actually do this week? Not the whole plan, not the whole business, not the dream version, just the first thing. This is where I don't know where to start becomes a real problem, because if something feels too big, your brain turns into a fog, and that kills momentum. You might watch 10 videos, save the post, read the comments, think about it in bed, talk yourself in and out of it, but if there is no first step, nothing happens. So ask, what would I do first? Would I watch the first training? Would I ask someone to explain how it works? Would I block 1 hour to learn the basics? Would I complete the checklist? Would I speak to someone to help me decide if it's a fit? Would I decide not to do it yet? And that's important. Clarity is not always a yes. Sometimes clarity is, no, this isn't right for me right now, and that's still useful. The first step should be clear enough that you can take it this week, not someday, this week. Small enough to do, meaningful enough to matter. That's what we're looking for. And finally, the fifth question is probably the most important. What support would help me stay on track? Because buying information is not the same thing as changing your life. And a lot of people know this deep down. You've bought the thing, downloaded the thing, started the thing, got excited for a week, then life happened. Work got busy, the kids got ill, they fell behind, felt stupid asking basic questions, and no one noticed when they disappeared. And then it became another thing they didn't finish. That doesn't mean you're lazy. It means you're human. And one of the most important questions to ask in my experience is, do I need help to stay on track? And I think that's an honest question. Not weak, just honest, because most people don't need someone shouting at them. They don't need pressure. They don't need to be made to feel worse. They need a place to come back to, someone to help them choose the next best step, somewhere to ask questions without feeling stupid, a bit of accountability when life gets busy. So before you buy any course, program, or online income idea, ask, where do I go when I get stuck? Who helps me simplify this? What happens if I fall behind? Is there support, or is it just a login and a pile of videos? Because for a lot of working parents, the missing piece is not more content, it's follow through. And that's why I use this checklist before talking about any program or next step, because I don't want to send people straight into something if they haven't checked whether it actually fits into their life. The program matters, yes, but so does the support around it. Because buying the information is one thing, actually using it when you're busy, tired, unsure, and trying to keep normal life going, that's another thing entirely. So if you're going to explore something, I want you to explore it clearly, not rushed, not pressurized, not because someone on the internet made it sound magical, just clearly. So those are the 5 questions. Can I explain how the money is made? Can I do it without becoming someone I don't respect? Can it fit around my actual life? Do I know the first step? And what support would help me stay on track? That's the believable first step. It's not about finding something perfect. It's about finding something clear enough, honest enough, and practical enough to explore without handing your hope over to hype. because both things can be true. There is a lot of nonsense online, and there are also real ways for ordinary people to learn skills and build something alongside their job and create more breathing room over time. The key is learning how to tell the difference. So here's what I want you to do now. Get the Believable first step checklist. If you came here because you commented first, you should already have it. If you found this video on YouTube and you don't have it yet, comment first or use the link in the description, then fill it in honestly. Don't answer it like the fantasy version of you who has endless time, endless energy, and no real responsibilities. Answer it like your actual life: work, kids, bills, tired evenings, the lot. And when you're done, one of three things will probably happen, and you'll realize: one, no, this isn't right for me right now. And that's fine, that's clarity. Or you'll realize, I need to ask better questions before I decide. And that's also fine. That's wisdom. Or you'll realize, actually, this does feel practical, honest, and doable, but I need to see the actual path. And if that's where you land, message me the word blueprint. That tells me you've done the first check and you're ready for me to show you the next step. No pressure, no hype, no weird internet nonsense, just the next honest step, because your future matters too much to hand it over to hype. You don't need to become a different person to build something different. You don't need to have it all figured out, but you do need a first step that feels believable enough to take. Start there.